The Sermon on the Mount is history's most famous speech, yet its core ideas, like loving your enemies, often strike modern ears as weak or impractical. In a world defined by power and strength, these commands can seem like utopian ideals that have no place in real-world leadership. To understand the weight of these words, we have to look at the historical reality of Galilee 2,000 years ago. This was an occupied territory. The audience consisted of Jewish farmers and day laborers who were overtaxed, bullied, and exhausted by the oppressive weight of the Roman Empire. When Jesus of Nazareth begins his teaching, he intentionally leads this crowd of hurting people up a mountainside. For a first-century Jew, a teacher on a mountain was a powerful symbol. It mirrored Moses giving instructions at Mount Sinai to the Hebrew people immediately after their rescue from Egyptian slavery. The crowd is looking for a new Moses. They are anticipating a rescuer who will follow the historical pattern, a leader who will declare violent war to liberate them from their Roman masters. This audience is perfectly primed for a military uprising. This expectation makes the nonviolent manifesto Jesus is about to deliver a total subversion of their hopes. Jesus refuses to call for a military strike against Rome. He chooses instead a strategy that targets the root of human evil itself. Jesus describes his teaching as filling full the work Moses started, extending these ancient laws to their deepest possible meaning. He uses a specific rhetorical formula throughout the sermon. You have heard it said, but I say to you. The old law provided a baseline of external compliance, like the prohibition against murder. Jesus introduces a more rigorous standard, an internal transformation that eradicates hatred from the heart. He argues that avoiding physical violence is a surface-level goal if a person still harbors contempt and malice towards others. True freedom requires more than a change in political leadership. It requires cleansing the human heart of the hate that fuels oppression in the first place. This logic is built on a strict prohibition. You cannot fight the power of evil with more evil. When a rebellion uses violence to defeat an empire, they eventually adopt the exact methods of those they overthrew. Jesus proposes a different mechanism, transforming enemies into neighbors through impartial love. By absorbing aggression rather than returning it, the cycle of violence is exhausted. This strategy aligns with the original intent of Moses' law, to form a people capable of blessing every family on earth. In this framework, enemy love is a tool for long-term transformation. Jesus teaches that this creative, renewing love is the only power capable of outlasting and eventually overwhelming systemic evil. Jesus uses the term kingdom of God to describe the society that emerges when this radical love is put into practice. This kingdom exists as a present reality where heaven and earth combine on the ground, a space where life flourishes free from injustice and suffering. This is the core of the Greek concept dikaiosune, often translated as righteousness. In Jesus' teaching, it means right relating, the practice of maintaining healthy, loving relationships with all people, rather than hoarding power for oneself. When an entire village prioritizes these relationships, the impulse to hoard resources disappears. By looking out for each other, the community ensures that everyone's basic needs are met through the collective. The crowd in Galilee was likely astonished to hear this. They were being offered the power to heal and bless their enemies, rather than the power to destroy them. Jesus is offering a way to experience freedom immediately. By adopting this kingdom mindset, they can live in God's way of love regardless of the Roman occupation. And this leaves us with a choice. Will we rely on the coercive power of empires, or have courage to hunger for the world-renewing power of love?